Hi there. Welcome to Frosmo's LinkedIn Live. I'm Mikael Miksu Gummerus. I'm the CEO and founder of Frosmo, and I'll be your host today. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about how personalization can boost acquisition and grow lifetime value in iGaming. I hope you'll find this fantastic session useful. A couple of things first. So we have Timo Vuori in the chat. He'll be answering your questions if you have any questions during the event. In the event, we'll have four amazing guests. First one is Jerwin Forbes from Dafabet. He's been leading Dafabet's user experience for a long time and has a vast experience in iGaming in general. We have Mark Knighton, CEO of Obsidian. Mark has over a decade of experience in iGaming from various different perspectives and responsibilities. Then we have two of our own Frosmonauts. We have Fola, who's our iGaming commercial lead. And we have Timo, who's our senior advisor. Fola is also going to be in Malta, in Sigma, 15th to 19th of November. So please catch up with Fola in Malta at Sigma. It's a great show. Big shout out to Eman for making it such an amazing event. All right. So today's show or event will be about 1 hour long. This is our agenda. So I'm going to introduce Frosmo very briefly, if you're not familiar with us yet. Then we're going to talk with Jerwin from Dafabet about Dafabet using Frosmo and personalization. After that, that's going to be about 15 minutes. After that, we're going to have a panel discussion with our experts. So Jerwin, Mark, and Fola for about 20 minutes. And last but not least, Timo Luoto will present us the latest version of Frosmo with the latest and finest features coming out. And yeah, please remember, you can always ask questions in chat. We have another Timo Vuori, replying there. He has also vast experience within iGaming industry. Frosmo, who are we? We are a personalization software company. We have about 10 years of experience and proven results in iGaming personalization and user experience optimization. Here you can see some of our iGaming customers. I think it's been a very interesting and exciting decade with the iGaming industry. It's been transforming and taking huge leaps. One thing I'd like to add about Frosmo is that in A/B tests against any other personalization solution, we've always managed to deliver better results. So happy to be a trusted partner in personalization and user experience optimization. Next, I'd like to welcome warmly Jerwin, our friend from Dafabet. And we're going to talk about increasing the return of investments in user acquisition. How are you, Jerwin?
Hi, Miksu. Thanks for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you. I'm actually joining from Helsinki, and where are you joining from?
Currently in Manila, Philippines.
Wow. So we have a true global conference going on here.
Mhm.
So How long have you been using Frosmo, and what do you use Frosmo for?
So, Frosmo, I remember this story specifically. Started using Frosmo in February of 2015.
Wow,
About yeah, more than 6 years ago. So I was just new into the iGaming industry at that time, and my manager said that we're planning to get Frosmo or to use Frosmo. See what you can do with it. And I just said, okay, great. And I didn't know what Frosmo was back then. Um, so it was it was a weird task for me, but at the time, in the websites, being able to do something on your site outside of the CMS, it's sort of unheard of, and it's a bit templated. You're always boxed into this specific models that the CMS has given you. So everyone sees the same thing. But then with us, with Frosmo, we were able to use our own. We can use You can use your own template if you want to. So in our case, we use Frosmo to highlight our promotions, our various campaigns, split testing, multivariate testing, and even adding certain features in our website.
fantastic! That's a really nice and good story. So, what have you achieved with us, and what do you think have been the main benefits from customer experience and conversion optimization perspective?
Now, with Frosmo, I always say this to the guys. It's always about time and speed with Frosmo, more than the personalization that is given with using the Frosmo software. Um, you can't replicate the time and the speed that Frosmo delivers. Now, as part of the marketing team and having a marketing background, before I transitioned to user experience, um, our team is always eager to try new things. We always have lots of ideas on the back of our mind, but given the developers uh, swamped with projects every time. Now Frosmo gives us the capability and the flexibility to do what we want in our website, not just relying on internal development. So with Frosmo, we target customers specifically based on the segments that we set. So you can think about anything, even the language they use, how many times they went to the site, how many got back, whatever you can think of. It's a gem for marketing people like me.
Fantastic! That's super nice to hear. Awesome, thank you. What about loyalty? Have you done something around it?
Loyalty. For customer loyalty, it usually requires a delicate balance because you have to work with the different product teams on how you want to promote this. You can't just give out promotions every time that um, you get loyal customers. If you have long time customers, we know that we want to satisfy them, want to give them the best of everything. But on a business perspective, you have to balance it perfectly. But in terms of loyalty, VIPs, etc., one key thing that they want, of course, is the service and the exclusivity that they get. So with Frosmo, we'll be able to target this one. So we know when a player is coming in, how long they've been with us. That's aside from the internal database that we have. So with that, we know where they specifically play to, whether it's desktop, mobile, which device they use, and we can specifically target campaigns at the right time.
That's really great to hear. Awesome. So you mentioned that this time and speed is really important for you guys. So you've used us for customer experience development. Is there anything
Yes.
you could share with us about it?
This was actually I think back in 2017, if
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken. uh, it was a hell of a month back then. So we had a software that we wanted to launch or put out immediately on our website. But yeah, we can do the marketing stuff in newsletters, sending out messages to our customers. But then you want to have something special on the website. You want to have something different. Well, again, as I mentioned earlier, with CMS, you're sort of locked in on what you can do.
Mm.
Now, with 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 nowhere to go because again, as I mentioned, our developers are always swamped with projects lined up. We can't get in front of the line uh, in terms of their development. So what we did is that we approached you guys. So with I think only 2 weeks notice from the product conceptualization to the design, the journey of the planning of the customer journey, and up to the implementation on the website, you were able to deliver. More than that one, I think around 60 or 69% of that software downloads that we wanted to promote came from that Frosmo modification.
Wow.
Because
Awesome.
without that modification, I think our targets we won't be able to meet our targets back then, and the launch or at least the push would be delayed for around a month.
Oh wow.
So yeah, time to market. It's really what you guys give us.
That's great to hear. Thanks. What about are there any new Frosmo use cases that you'd like to explore next?
There's a lot of things that we have, but well, for 6 years, I think somehow we've scratched the surface on what Frosmo can really do for us. Of course, there will always be limitations internally with collaboration with Frosmo, but with the Frosmo, I would like to have a more ML driven content or use case, so
Mhm.
that instead of us manually pushing content to our customers, we would like to uh, more of a higher level strategic thinking, and with that ML driven content or models, we'll be able to free up some time for us to strategize better rather than always cramming and pushing the uh, the content to the site manually.
Yeah, the content treadmill, as you would say, it's running
Exactly.
treadmill all the time. Yeah, that's good. Really nice. What about any other new development wishes or initiatives you guys have on your roadmap?
One thing that I always instill within our team is that we should always and continuously test, always do split testing, multivariate testing, um, always try to disrupt or do something different, because even your customers might get bored with what your site looks like. So even small changes, like different changes in the sections of the website, doesn't have to be a major revamp of a website, but something new, something to keep them excited. So that's those are the main things that we're looking forward to. And more on the UI changes, more on we wanna focus on marketing at the right time, the right player. So just to give you an example, for sports betting, what can we do if this player has scored a goal at a specific time? What what can we do to boost uh, uh, a promotion or something in their website? So that's what we're looking forward to.
Wise words. Really good. All right. Thank you, Jervin. That was really insightful.
Thank you.
Really, really great comments and thoughts there, and vast experience. Jervin will still join us for the panel, and then we have on the panel also Mark. How are you, Mark?
Good day. How are you doing, guys?
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
Fantastic to have you here. And then we have in the panel also Fola. How are you, Fola?
I'm great, thanks. Hi, Mikael, Jerwin, Mark.
Hello.
Hi, Paula.
All right.
Fantastic. So this is a virtual panel discussion, always a little bit more challenging than face-to-face, real live panel discussions, but I'm sure we will manage. It's such a fantastic team. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna ask questions, and you guys just can go ahead and comment. And if I don't hear anyone saying anything, then I'll just ask directly, like Mark, for example, what would you like to have that? And let's take it from there. Does it sound good?
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Fantastic. So we got about 20 minutes panel discussion, and I thought it would be good to have your overall feeling about the iGaming industry. How are we doing now? Are we back in the booming times after COVID? What do you guys say?
So I'll chime in there straight away. To be honest, I think the over the pandemic, I think the gaming industry has really sort of benefited from the pandemic. Where you say how the industry is doing, are we booming again? I think we were booming more and more over the pandemic. A lot of people spending a lot more time at home and going online, looking at sort of maybe alternative sports betting options, esports, but definitely sort of the online casino sector seen a dramatic increase over the sort of pandemic.
Fantastic. What about Jerwin? What do you think?
There's still certain challenges that we face in during COVID, but yeah, I think for the industry, it's better because a lot of players or customers are actually just at home playing, and we get to get more opportunities with that.
Yeah, yeah. What about Fallout? How do you see it? How do you see it?
Yeah, so I have a similar outtake to both Joe and Mark. We were in a sort of privileged position in gaming where we were in an industry that probably got accelerated during COVID, and obviously especially the casino side of things, and as Mark said, the esports, because I think esports was always a place people sort of predicted sort of high growth for and predicted sort of a great prospects, but I think COVID has definitely accelerated that. And definitely sort of brought that about a lot quicker. And with us at Frosmo, we did some really sort of interesting projects where we work with partners to cross-sell usual sports players. Obviously, there were no sports events and ways of sort of predicting what kind of casino game they could potentially like, and that went really well. So I think, yeah, as Mark said, I don't think we're booming again. I think we're always booming, and if anything, COVID has maybe sort of accelerated that.
Oh, that's the spirit. That's the nice attitude. We've been booming all the time. I love it.
Booming.
Booming, booming. What about just a side question? Do you guys happen to be video gamers? Do you do esports yourself?
Yeah,
No.
of course.
A little, a little.
A little.
What else is there to do?
Exactly. It's good to be a gamer these days.
Oh yeah.
So next question is more sort of a Frosmo related, and I think this is a topic that I've been talking about for the last decade with almost everyone, and it would be really great to hear your take on it. Do you think it's sort of a standard now that operators are offering truly personalized experiences to their players? What do you guys say?
I um Let me answer first. I think that the key word there is truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think operators uh, offer some sort of personalized experiences, but not to the full extent that like what we want to for our customers to experience. It's a more of a baseline personalization, if you ask me, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot more that can be done.
Hmm. What about
Yeah,
Mark?
I, yeah, I exactly what Joe said. You know, let's just say there's a lot of room for improvement out there. You know, as Joe said, basic, you know, personalization, but you know, it can go a lot further, and it needs to. I mean, if these operators want to stand, you know, out from the crowd against their peers, that they need to seriously look at this sort of personalization for their players, you know, to keep them engaged, keep them interested. Otherwise, they're going to fall behind as sort of, you know, other adopters of this sort of approach, you know, ramp up further and further.
Yeah. Yeah. Fola, you talk
Yeah.
to a lot of operators. What about you?
Yeah, so as you said, Mikael, I'm in a sort of privileged position where I do this on a daily basis. So I think I've got sort of good sort of overview and adoption in the industry in general. And I would say simple answer is probably no. In general, not offering that truly personalized experience. And I think that it's been a bit of a tentative sort of adoption, and most operators are offering things like sort of last played games and last viewed things games and quite sort of simplistic adoption of personalization, and even when they see the results of that, they're so huge. So it's a mystery why it's not it's not sort of adopted and prioritized as much as it should be. And if I was an operator, I would definitely sort of look at the landscape and see personalization as a sort of real opportunity, because most of my competitors aren't really sort of doing it properly. So if I can really sort of take ownership of that and do personalization properly, then it can really give me a sort of a good competitive edge.
Well, another side question. Do you think that other industries are ahead of iGaming in personalization?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, definitely.
Yes.
Actually, I can start with that on a sort of real time sort of case study. I've just recently moved house, and I've been sort of buying lots of things from one of the most famous retailers, and I think after sort of one search, it sort of figured out that I was moving, and it was so sophisticated how the sort of recommendations came in, and the sort of and the sort of email marketing after that, and then I just wish sort of but gaming was that sort of um, sophisticated in its personalization. And people like to make the comparisons to e-commerce, but I like to compare gaming to sort of much more similar industries. So sort of media and entertainment industries, where you are supposed to come on and enjoy the product and have fun. And then when the obvious example is obviously Netflix, but even more sort of closer comparison would be something like the gaming streaming sites like Stream, and those products are really sort of built all around personalization. Everything it's sort of an offshoot from personalization. That's a sort of real core of the product, and I think and that's a very similar sort of product to most casinos and sportsbooks. So I think gaming should definitely adopt that thinking and make personalization the sort of real core for growth.
What do you
Yeah.
think,
I mean,
Jerwin? Mark, do you agree?
yeah, I mean, especially here in Sweden, we, you know, the probably the biggest industry that uses personalization is the retail sector. You know, we have some very big retail names out here, and you know, I experience, you know, sort of shopping online through these retail stores, and as Fuller said, you know, the amount of attention that's given back to me as a, you know, a purchaser is fantastic, and it does lead you on to buying more product. You know, it's a very good marketing tool and loyalty tool to use for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Adding to that one, personally, I've been um, um, I've been buying more because of personalization. That's when you know it works, if it works for you. But yes, more on the retail, more on the retail space, I think they utilize this more than more than the iGaming industry. Also for well, there's always social media. I think one of
Mm.
the king or the leaders in personalization is social media. They're
Yeah.
always out to the next content, keeping you engaged, and that's what we want to happen in our industry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about TikTok. It's crazy how good the personalization algorithm is. It's
It's a rabbit.
amazing.
It's a rabbit
Definitely.
hole.
Oh,
Oh, you said it. Said it.
Yeah.
That's how Dafabet should be, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just before you move on, Mixer, I just wanted to add that obviously at Frosmo we do a lot of research and testing on this, and I think the key word in that sentence is truly, because when we test certain operators who tell us they do personalization, we will interact with the site in one way, and then we will interact from another account, interact with the site in a total opposite way, and we'll still see the same recommendations
Yeah.
and same games. So
Yeah.
it's all about your everyone has algorithms and strategies, but it's all about how smart your data is that's powering them. So
Yeah.
I think that the key word is definitely truly.
Yeah. No, really good thoughts and comments. Which leads us to the, I think, is it obvious after the previous comments? Does personalization uh, have the priority it deserves? What do you guys say? And why? Why? If no, why isn't it?
yeah, I would say definitely not. I mean, you look at an operator that there's so many priorities that are
Yeah.
put upon an
Mm.
operator. Everything from compliance, operational stuff, commercial stuff.
Mm.
I mean, it's one of those bricks that needs to be addressed for an operator. I mean, Jerwin will be able to sort of, paint a better picture than this with what they're doing. But it's everything's a priority these days, and it's all about resources, what's available, what money people can spend on systems, solutions, what's the ROI. And I think again with Fuller can sort of probably give a better indication what the ROI of personalization. It's important, but it's one of those, nice to
That gets put
haves.
off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it so
Yeah.
important? Too much stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
What do you
yeah. I
think?
mean, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I asked. What do you think?
Oh, for us, it should be given the priority, but as Mark said, there are a lot of things that operation wise are prioritized, and yeah, everything's a priority.
Yeah.
um, but I think this is one of the most important things that are always put off. Um, Also, when we start to to finally put a focus on this, and to do the testing on this, one of the key things is the implementation part, the timing. So there's this uh, when we when we get to test it, when we get to do it, and we finally want to implement it. Our idea back then is now outdated, so we
Yeah.
we we have to keep continuously doing it again and again. And I think just thinking about it, most of the people get tired about it. So that's why it gets put off. Just thinking about it, it gets put off.
Yeah.
and you
That's why
need
you said time and speed is so important. You said it many times when we had
Exactly.
that together. Yeah.
Yeah, and you need buy-in from the top as well. So
Mm,
to be able to sort of filter that through the organization. So if you don't get sort of senior buy-in, like say, it's a lot harder sell to the organization to get this as a core priority and put on the sort of roadmap in regards to sort of resource allocation and things like that.
We'll
Yeah,
put this idea on the shelf again.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It did hurt a little bit my heart, Mark, when you said it's personalization is nice to have. We think it's must have. What do
Yeah,
Yeah,
you say?
it's
that,
yeah.
yeah, no, that was exactly the point I wanted to make. I don't feel it's given a priority it deserves. I feel the industry in general is bought into personalization. They see the benefits and they see that's the way not just gaming's going, the whole digital sort of B2C sort of environment. But it is still seen as a luxury sort of accessory. Sort of when we have excess space in our roadmaps, which is never, and when we have sort of budgets, we'll do it. But sort of my day-to-day conversations with operators, it's really trying to encourage them to push personalization up that sort of priority sort of level, so that because they will be surprised, as Mark said, to talk about the return of investment, just how quickly the return of investment can be from personalization, and also how much it affects every other sort of part of the sort of business. It will sort of boost acquisition. It will boost sort of your new product launches and your CRM, and it will sort of have a sort of overall sort of business compound effect. So it is something that should be definitely sort of more prioritized.
And I think you guys said many times that it's a lot of work, and I agree. Doing proper A/B tests, it's a lot of work. So that's why what Jerwin said as a last comment about what you guys are thinking next is to get rid of this sort of a content and testing treadmill, to get
Mhm.
more into the automation, use more machine learning and just automate things so that then you as humans have more time to creative thinking and strategic thinking and so forth. So do you guys think that could help it? That could help to lift up the priority?
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, business automation is sort of key now. Anything that can sort of reduce the workload on a team. Yeah, you're on a winner straight away. Um, yeah,
What about Jervin? What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. Um, with the time it takes to upload content manually, to check it, to test it, um, and do it on a daily or regular basis. It time is consumed so much doing those little tasks. But then I understand that the risks are so high if you get the contents wrong. That's
Mm,
why once you automate these things with the right parameters, it will free up the time that it needs, the time that you need to come up with a better strategy on how to improve your site rather than what to put on your site.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Really good. So okay, now we got it covered that uh, it doesn't have the priority it should deserve. So what do you think companies and operators are losing when they don't do it, when they don't have personalized service for their players? What do you think, Jervin?
Um, One, well, top of mind that in the industry that I think about is we're missing out on money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
just to
That's
put it
yeah,
straight out there, we're missing out on money. Um, instead of us earning more, profiting from the personalization, we get to miss out on these things because our focus is on different things. Our focus is more on doing administrative stuff, more on manual things. So yeah.
yeah. Do you think if you don't have a personalized service, they will jump onto Netflix or HBO Max because those are personalized, right? Is that the
Yes, yes.
conclusion?
Now, um, one one thing that we should be careful about this one though is that we don't want to be the last ones to do it.
Yeah,
So Um, Especially in iGaming, there are hundreds of brands and companies out there, but one thing that you don't want to do is to be the last one to jump on the ship, to be the last one to offer this concept. That's why what you want is to right now start
Yeah.
doing some personalization. I know that we mentioned that some operators offer even just a baseline personalization, but it's the first step. It's the first step to do.
Exactly. Let's get out there. Yeah. What about Mark? What do you say?
I mean, as Jerwin said, I think the commercial sort of the revenue part of it is a huge part of this. I mean, apathy in your player population as well. Not having an engaged player population where, like I say, the knock-on effect is the revenue coming into the company. From a sort of an operational point of view, it's resources. If you have a solution there that's sort of automating your business, you need less resources within your organization. So there's a knock-on effect to that as well. So there's a lot of positives of having a personalization product, both from sort of a commercial point of view, but also an operational point of view. So again, why these things aren't prioritized, is a question that organizations have to have. They have to ask themselves.
Yeah. So it's not just about making more money, but it's also about saving costs and having less stressed team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got sort of a team of people working on this part of the business. Let's say if you can automate this, and especially with machine learning and artificial intelligence, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Paula, do you have anything else to add to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of just maybe develop a little bit on what Jerwin said around that losing that competitive advantage. I think that's a really key one for me. It's it's not just about sort of adopting personalization, it's but about not being the last and sort of how well you do it as well. And when you look at sort of a usual sort of players ecosystem, they'll have a digital ecosystem and they'll have a entertainment product, Netflix for example, retail product, let's say Amazon, and they'll have all different types of products. And if those products are given them that truly personalized user experience, and they become quite accustomed to it, and that sort of drops in their sort of gaming ecosystem, their sportsbook or casino, that they will notice, and if a competitor provides that for them, they will migrate to that competitor. So after losing that competitive advantage in such a competitive industry, there's sort of startups popping up daily in every market. I think that is a real sort of key sort of benefit for adopting personalization.
Yeah, because after all, in iGaming, the games are actually fairly similar. So I think it's really about the service around the games that makes you stand out.
Yeah, exactly. So as you said, there's only sort of so many casino providers, and the games are sort of replicated on most operators, and there's only so many sports that you can bet on. So the product itself is quite similar across the field. So just coming up with ways to sort of differentiate yourself and make yourself stand out. And I think sort of personalization is the most sustainable way of doing that, really.
Really nice. Thank you guys for those thoughts. Really good. We already spoke about the challenges the companies face, about the priorities, and having too many things to do for too small amount of team members. What do you think? Are there still some other barriers left when it comes to not adopting personalization? Maybe technical, maybe principles. I don't know. What do you guys say?
One thing that I think is the biggest barrier is it's a human habit. You
Yeah.
know, some people get used to doing things on a certain way, but once you introduce a new idea, um, it becomes difficult for them to sort of adopt quickly. That's why with Frosmo we have multivariate tests. We have data to prove, data-based personalization. So we can sort of remove the subjective part of of everyone, and focus on the results.
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, as a leader, it's the change is so difficult to lead. You're right, totally right about that. What about Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, I think again, I think it's the lack of understanding within an organization of what can be possible, and sort of understanding what solutions are out there to be able to sort of help, this sort of approach. I mean, we've covered most of the other things in this chat, so yeah, I think sort of lack of understanding of what personalization means and what they can actually do and what it can achieve.
Yeah, yeah, really good. Fallout. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I think I could definitely add quite a lot to this because this is my job. I come across these barriers quite a lot, and I think the biggest one is actually not actually a barrier; it's more of a perceived barrier. I think once people see personalization as such a big technical thing, and especially when they see our product, they feel integration will be so tough, and it will take months, and we've sort of worked really hard to make integration as sort of seamless and stress-free for the operator as possible, and we'll do sort of most of the heavy lifting. And I think once they actually sort of speak to our tech guys and see what integration actually looks like for Frosmo, they're usually pleasantly surprised, and they felt it. I think we brought it down to under 2 weeks, and sometimes we can do it a lot quicker if you have sort of certain game feeds and data layers in place. So I think that is the biggest one, and also another sort of slight sort of barrier is for the startups, because startups are all in acquisition sort of mode. They feel personalization is something that they can look at further down the line. But they're usually quite surprised that we can add so much value to acquisition as well. So even they're surprised that how can you do personalization even before we've acquired a player, and I usually talk them through that. And I'll give you an example. So that if you look at sort of the usual sort of customer lifetime value, it's split into three phases: acquisition, engagement, and retention. And then people sort of usually pigeonhole Frosmo or personalization in general as sort of an engagement stroke retention product, but we can offer so much value on the acquisition side as well. And an example I like to use is we have a partner who had a big sort of affiliate campaign. It was a big hero banner on an affiliate website, and it was a Viking themed slot game. And through Frosmo, when a potential player clicked on that banner and enter the operator site, automatically their product was built around that game. There would be a similar Viking themed hero banner. There would be other war themed slot games and Vikings themed games. So instantly that product was built around that person's affinity in some ways, because we already sort of guessing that based on them clicking on that banner, and that had a huge uplift in sort of conversion from discovery to registration, because the person entered this product, saw the game they liked and loads of other games that were similar, and they instantly felt this was a perfect product for them. So that's just one example of how we can really sort of help push the acquisition phase, and how startups should really look into adopting personalization from day one, really.
Really nice. That was good insights and good examples. I would love to have just your final last thoughts, Jerwin and Mark, to follow us comments, and then we're unfortunately running out of time. But please, if you guys want to comment on follow us thoughts, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, I concur.
Okay.
it's you can't. What can you add to that? Yeah, every single point. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, what Fola said, even in a new for a new customer, you can make your website more immersive. So
Mm.
based on the preferences that about that new user coming in. So yeah,
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, it was a really lovely conversation. I think I was stoked how smart comments and thoughts you guys have. Really fantastic guests. Thank you, Jervin. Thank you, Mark.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Fola. I enjoyed it tremendously. I hope you had fun too.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was the panel discussion, and then we have one more thing left. We have we're right on time. We have about 15 minutes for Timo Luoto to present Frosmo's offering and new features. I'll be quiet now while Timo does the presentation, but I'll be switching slides, so don't be alarmed when Timo says that please a new slide or next slide, and it will be me clicking. And please remember, there is Timo Vuori, another Timo of ours, answering questions in the chat. So feel free to ask any questions throughout Timo Luoto's presentation. But please, warm welcome to Timo Luoto.
Hi all, and thanks Mixer for introduction. Basically, I think your panel discussed and did most of my work for me because you basically outlined and the customers were wishing pretty much all the features about to explain now. I mean, it may be that it's not completely coincidence that we are talking about the new features at the same time. We have like happy customers here presenting. So let's go forward and let's see what we got.
Absolutely.
So as discussion with the panel brought up, I mean, they said that many providers and operators are already doing the basic personalization, which we don't really think about personalization, but showing basic games and recommendations. Well, what we do, and especially now that, for example, Jerwin was hoping that there should be more AI and machine learning and background to free the space and time for people to do themselves what they actually should be doing. So planning new strategies and thinking about where to go. Exactly what we're bringing now. So if you show the first part, we have to think about the phase in the customer journey. Have they just come to the site? Is it part of the user acquisition? Is it actually that they already done the first deposit? Or are they actually regular players and we already know more about them and we are just trying to bring up the loyalty and retention? That's the first phase. When we continue next part, which is the identifying the primary super-affinity. This is a fancy word, but basically what it builds up is that we are using all the information we can gather, and we are using now that AI, which is our own Frosmo-driven AI, that is trying to find basically just that what is the AI's best guess for one individual in the specific customer journey phase, depending what they've done before, mostly about the behavior data that can be then tweaked with additional info. So if you put it one more, when we have the behavior data and we can have the contextual data, even the statistical data we mentioned or you spoke earlier in a panel that, you know, there is a popular games or best in category or something, they may work for the first time visitor at some point, but this is exactly taking time and taking like noticing which point we should show what. And then this combination of data really goes forward, and we can see that even if it's like a customer whose lifetime value is already like really far and they've been playing for years, games change, the type of games change. There can be multiple different sources. And if we jump to the next slide, we can see that, for example, this is a kind of a like a example of one person's preferences. So we often talk about personalization in iGaming split in both behavioral data and then context and statistical data. And we use the affinity to try find my personal individual best things. But at the same time, we can add to the strategy other variables or parameters how to, you know, implement our own goals. Because we may not know. I mean, the computer and AI is not that Skynet, so we don't know if there is better deals with some studios, or if there's some new game just came up, so it doesn't have these attributes driven, that it's not that popular yet, it's just released. So the casino operators and the managers are actually now the ones who can actually implement something else. They can combine my personal affinity and recommendations into something they want to show on a strategical level. And here we can see the examples, for example, in the slide, that it can show that my favorites have been the slot games. I played with a number of reels, and it's the Megaways. But in the end, they can think that, hey, let's have the third recommendation in front page to something that they think that better fits their own strategy. It can be a better game or deal in a certain studio provider, or it can be something else. And this is how it looks like. And front page, or this kind of landing page for casino games, it can drive anything between like 60 to almost 80% of the games played, which means that it's a major source for actually trying out games and switching between games. So this is like the most precious real estate by square centimeter in the screen that the visitors are using. That should be optimized. That's the whole point of personalization and taking it further. And this is definitely what guys were talking about, freeing space from manual work, having AI and machine learning to actually build all this automatically. Like those first two rows could be completely AI driven. Third one would be, implementing company policies or trends that they know that are upcoming. It can be 100% automatized, and then you just choose different kind of strategies you add up later on. It can all be done with the Frosmo control panel these days without your developers, and that's a massive tool. And the time to market, what Jerwin was gratefully mentioning a few times, becomes critical when you think about how much you can improve in such a valuable source of games played. And if you go one more slide, we have a little bit new thing. This is not that much about the Super-Affinity, but it's always a challenge to try to find out how new trends start and how they are formed. And people have the tendency of selecting something similar, or if the feeling just goes, they do impulse decision based on what they are seeing in real time in front of their eyes, and AI cannot always guess all that. So we have a little bit new feature, which is actually coming, which are similar looking games. It's actually comparing your game images to each other and trying to say that if there is some carrying trend. I mean, it's easy to choose like superhero games or something, but maybe it could be more simpler. Just shoot one more slide. If you play like fruit gen kind of game before, it's just, happy colors, fruits in a picture, and you just maybe feel like it. Well, as guys said, Jerwin and Mark, that sometimes you just need to try automatically some kind of different approaches, A/B testing, multivariant testing, or something. Why not try if something like this would actually work better? It can be completely impulse driven in that specific real-time spot. And this is something we want to try and accumulate more experience and data. And maybe even the themes and images on games can become part of the AI-driven affinity. So we don't even know how far the affinity can actually grow in the future. Thinking about that, there is practically no limit what kind of attributes we can add to it. So it can all actually end up into all the history of the user acquisition, source you came from, what drove you first to sign up and register, what made you do the first deposit, what made you stay after the first bonuses have been used and do reap deposits and enjoy your time. This is the kind of stuff they're talking about, that how social media and media areas are actually using personalization, that they just engage you more. You are getting either the content that comes from your own behavioral history, it uses some contextual data that, people who like the same things as you did, or it can be something as random as your current impulse of trying something that just looks fun right now in front of your eyes. It can combine all that, but it's still going to be, real, safe, no taking over the world or stuff. It's just Frosmo AI. I think that has the best parts. The final part, I have to little bit go focusing on the super-affinity. It sounds cool, and we talk about all the time, and what is the affinity, and we say that it's the AI's guess. Well, obviously, it's a much more complex, but it can also be made a simple to use tool. And this is what we are really doing, that we are trying to make this so easy that the casino managers can actually on the fly tune them with Frosmo control panel, just sliding how much the individual affinity you want to put into certain areas, and do, for example, those tests that Jerwin and Mike were saying that, hey, we want to free the time, we want to have these casino managers to actually do without that huge backlog of IT teams that they need to do integrations and all that. No. All this data we have gathered can really be utilized for the affinities and what we recommend and personalize. But the time to market and make it actually usable, it has to be something that anyone can actually alter in a user interface, friendly user interface, and not, go queuing for our super gurus who are doing AI development, or developers back in the office, or in the, have to postpone some payment system. No, this is a hands down easy tool to manage even your lobby front pages or the casino first view that your customers coming. That was the source of 60 to 80% of games opened and all that. It should be managed quick, easy, and efficiently, and this kind of brings it all. Sounds huge sales pitch, but I'm using this tool myself every once in a while, so I need that it really, really works. Try it out.
Thank you, Timo, for an awesome presentation. Really exciting new features from Frosmo, especially for iGaming industry. And thank you to all the listeners. I hope this was a useful event to you. I enjoyed it very much. You can contact me, Fola, or Timo about any of these topics. We're really happy to tell you more. Here are our emails. As I said also in the beginning, Fola is going to be in Sigma in Malta from 15th to 19th of November. So please book a meeting with Fola, and let's talk about personalization and customer experience optimization and how Frosmo can help you. Thank you so much. See you again. Bye-bye.